Welcome on back, everybody, to episode 131 of Streaming with the Mouse, where today we are talking about episodes 2 and 3 of Marvel Studios' Miss Marvel, now on Disney+. Sit back, relax, this is Streaming with the Mouse. Welcome on back, everybody, to Streaming with the Mouse. My name's Cam Raymond, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, my co-pilot, the Brian to my Bruno, we'll call it, for this part. Cliff, say hello to nice people.
Hello, everyone, and here we go, Miss Marvel time.
Look at that, we had 2-week break, now you getting us, what is this, 2 days in between our Obi-Wan episode and now this, so very excited to talk about Miss Marvel. We're doing these so close together, there's no new news.
Actually, there's 2 pieces. There's 2 pieces that I forgot in the last one.
Okay.
So, first one, we got the first look at the Santa Claus starring Tim Allen. It was literally just a picture on a North
Excellent.
Pole set. I'm very excited for this. I love the Santa
Can't
Claus. The other one is Secret Invasion is having 4 months of reshoots.
Interesting. Okay.
Wild. Supposedly it's going to take 4 months because of the current reshoots with the Marvels.
Okay.
Take with that what you will. It kind of makes sense because Ben Mendelsohn, if he is returning for the Marvels, he'll also be in Secret Invasion because he's the fake Nick Fury. So it makes sense if he has to be on multiple places at once. And as a Skrull, you can technically be that, but we think have Skrulls in real life. Those are the main. Oh, and if you're interested, Disney Plus debuted Zombies 3 trailer. I have not seen 1 or 2, so I don't really.
Couldn't tell you. There's one song that I remember like on Disney Channel because my sister-in-law liked the first movie, and we watched the second one, and there's one song that's actually like a banger, but it's good. I forget what it's called though.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's our news. All right, top 5 things in episode 2 of Miss Marvel called Crushed, and episode 3 Destined. This will be a little bit of a quicker episode. Like I said, in the last episode that you might have listened to, the Obi-Wan, I am so sorry for the delay. Completely on me, not Cliff. But we're getting it back on track right here. So top 5 things between both episodes. So Cliff, if you want to start off with your number 5.
And if we're being honest, not a lot. Like, a lot has happened in the 2 episodes, not a lot 1-to-1. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
It worked out in our favor.
Yeah.
But my number 5, because it's kind of a complaint at the same time, but my number 5 is seeing the Bruno Kamala relationship. As we have, I was really hoping, if you remember from our first episode about Miss Marvel, I was really looking forward, I was hoping for the non-romantic boy-girl friendship. Obviously, that's not how this is, as Bruno absolutely really has a thing for Kamala. As we have pointed out, he's literally giving up a potential dream school opportunity to stay with her. Obviously, it's also because of her newfound powers, but you definitely could tell there was more something there as well. I'm going to give credit to Matt Lintz. Very talented. He could have been a great Peter Parker. He was supposedly a finalist for Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and honestly, I could see it because he looks very much like the video game Peter Parker. I'm very happy it's Tom Holland. I wouldn't trade Tom Holland for the world, but if Matt Lintz did get it, everyone would have loved him just as much as Tom Holland.
So I obviously heard that news story in between episodes 2 and 3, and then when him and Kamala were having that conversation in episode 3 about like, hey, I want to go to Caltech, or I got into it kind of thing, I was like, oh my god, that like, it kind of sounded even like Tom Holland. I was like, this guy would have been a perfect Spider-Man. Obviously, I love that we have him as this and Bruno, and I love that we have Tom as Peter Parker and Spidey in the Spider-Man franchise. But holy cow, I was like, oh, it would not have been a big deal at all kind of thing. Like, Tom Holland was a complete unknown to me, so if we got Matt instead, like, it wouldn't have not been a big deal at all for me in my head. It would have been awesome.
Matt was really good in The Walking Dead also. He was Henry, if anyone watched. At that point, he lost his head. Spoiler alert, but it's been long enough. Suck it up. So, yeah. I'm interested to see, we formed this awkward love triangle. We'll see what happens. I don't know. We'll talk about it as the show goes on. But I like what they're doing with Bruno.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm not excited. I'm interested to see the path they go. But I think Matt Lintz is going to be part of the show for a while.
Yeah, I think so too.
Or at least part of the MCU with Kamala.
Yeah, I'd hope so for at least that, right?
Yes.
So my number 5 is the cultural education from this show. And I know I said last week that representation matters could be on every episode, and I wasn't going to do that. I don't care. I'm breaking my own rule at this point. Like I do in everything in this show, so it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love the cultural education we get in this because it adds so much depth and flavor to this. The series to like, it's not just okay, we're going to put this Pakistani female superhero on here. You're going to actually learn more about the culture because the culture is such an important part of who Kamala Khan is and her family and the Khan family. So like the discussion on partition and how that relates to Kamala's family, especially her mother, which was obviously an important part in the 40s with India. Seeing the wedding, like the fact that they have to say, do you take this person to be your husband or do you take this person to be your wife 3 times? And like the banging of the heads together and the money that they do, and the cultural dance was really cool as well. And learning about cultural myths like the jinn that Bruno is studying to figure out who these supernatural beings are that were friendly to Kamala and now aren't. So to hear, I think it's Urdu. I could be incorrect, so I apologize if I'm incorrect in the language, but I believe Mr. Khan was reading something that was in Urdu, which I believe is the language.
Yes,
to Bruno about the jinn. It was all just really cool to get that extra oomph into the show that gives the character of the Kamala and her family as a whole more depth in this.
I was gonna save that part for a later number, but I'm gonna go in it. I can switch it because it was gonna be 3. I'll switch it to 4. And with that, I'm gonna more focus on the wedding because I really enjoyed it, and what I liked even more, and I'm glad they did it also in Eternals. Also, it was fun to see the more Bollywood-esque scene, but it was as a way of like, oh, you put this as a small little wedding gift for you. And seeing them dance, they were having fun with it. Seeing Bruno put in the time to learn it also was also nice. And again, it's a cultural learning thing, and it was so funny. I'm going to talk about this part later also. Like, I love reading the review bombs because they're so poorly written. And like on IMDb, you can say, yes, this comment makes sense, and so many people are like, this comment doesn't make sense. And so it's really interesting to see the review bombers really get owned personally. But seeing the cultural aspects of it is just so cool because I love the outfit specifically.
Real quick too, just like how hard Bruno's trying. Like he goes to all these holidays and stuff, and he's like, "Is this one too bright?" And the Muniba, the mom, was like, "No, it's fine." And then Amir was like, "Yeah, no, it's too bright." He goes, "Oh man, I really tried." Like he's putting in so much effort to be so culturally competent because he loves the Khan family. He obviously clearly loves Kamala. As more than a friend. I love that aspect too, where he's doing everything he can to not fit in, but like just learn about this culture and like not embarrass himself within it because he likes these people a lot.
Yes. And I just really like the dad.
He's the best
because he's so fun. Like saying, like, I forget which episode it was, but he's like, if you don't stop praying long enough to put some food in your mouth, one day you'll starve to death. He's just great for like the wisdom because it's exactly what you want to hear. I forget the exact quote that he told his son before, and he was getting nervous about like the money and like all this, and it's like he's just such a good comfort character.
And that's when I have. Can I just? I don't even care about my order. Can I just jump into that one?
Go right in.
One of my other in the top 5. This was my 2. Was the recurring message of the importance of family in this. So, like, I really hope Kamala gets to a point where she's comfortable telling her family that she is Miss Marvel. I want to say it's like one of the other runs of the Miss
Marvel.
More so,
comics. I think it's going to be with telling her dad. At least in this show, I could see it only being the dad.
See, I think it's going to be the mom and the dad, because I think especially the mom, like, clearly it's the mom side of the family where this power is coming from, kind of thing. But just like I love the importance of family. So like that, what you were talking about when the dad talks to Amir right before the wedding, and he's like, I only have $730 something to my name. Like, I'm about to be married. I'm about to be like somebody's husband. And he has like that speech, like, if you choose family and you choose love, you can either choose love or you can choose fear. If you choose family and love, you're never going to be alone. You'll figure it out, kind of thing. And I love how important that is and how much the mother keeps honing into her. And I think this is important specifically that it's the mother. Kamala, I'm here for you. We are here for you. Tell us what's going on. And you can tell it's probably frustrating for the mother that it's not just that Kamala's not telling her what's going on. It's, I think, her mother knows because obviously something happens at the end of episode 3 is the grandmother Nani like I just saw the train too. I bet the mom sees the train, but she just wants so hard for Kamala to learn this lesson that like you can tell me these things, and she's just letting it go on, which I think is actually a pretty cool parenting skill. You don't think so? I think she does.
I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna say the mom is embarrassed by her family history and doesn't want to acknowledge the train. She wants her. She understands. It's very much turning red to me, where the mom rejects it. The mom understands that this power could technically be used. She had something bad happen to her with the power and has turned it off and does not want to see her daughter go through the same thing. True. And it's that's the thing. Yusuf said it very well. If you choose fear, it's going to rule it. But if you choose the love and you choose family, you'll always be fine.
True.
And the mom rejects it. The mom rejects the love and the family of what the bangle does. And that's going to lead me into my next point, where the bangle, and Bruno has confirmed, the bangle doesn't give her power. It awakens awesome. The power inside of her. So it is. I've said this. I think that they're holding out for Inhumans. And Miss Marvel would have been a good introduction to Inhumans into the MCU. I still think that, I mean, Black Bolt did get some good praise from Multiverse of Madness, which if you have not watched our special edition episode, go back and you can watch that also with Colin. I think that with the hype with Multiverse of Madness and people really enjoyed Black Bolt in that, I think we're actually going to maybe see a redemption of Inhumans sooner rather than later, within the next 5 years, which then Miss Marvel can get that time. Let her be cosmic to introduce her and then bring her into it. But seeing that it's just a way to do the power is a really cool way, because the power's inside of her. And I was very worried when they mentioned that Jinn were going to be involved as the villains, or at least the talking point, because it's sometimes too on the nose. But I really like the way they've done it personally. And Jinn are just genies. They're mischievous creatures that might grant wishes, might do XYZ. It's been popularized that the phrase Jinn is always genie's the more popular Western one. The Witcher uses Jinn for the name, so interchangeable. I really like how they're doing it, because it's like they're trapped here. They're these powerful beings that quickly, as soon as they're not getting their way, turn. It was also interesting to see how easily they were handled at the end of the episode, but I really like them as the primarily cosmic villain, because they don't have their powers because they're trapped. So it gives Kamala the option to, when she unlocks her powers, handle them very well and be a good first test, while also seeing what these evil people are also going to be in the same sense.
Yeah. So was that your number 4?
That was my number 4 into 3.
Okay.
I did the bangle into the Jinn.
So should I go? So that was my 4 and 3?
That was my 3 into 2.
Because so should I do 2 then?
Just go. You said you didn't care about order.
No, but should I do 2 more is what I'm saying.
Yeah, do 2 more.
Okay. This goes in together. No, it doesn't. But the fight scene in episode 3, everything was awesome, but the fact that part of it was to Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer was
something.
So funny.
That was something.
Something I never thought I'd see in a Marvel show, movie, Marvel Studios, anything. But it worked so good, because I think you can have more fun with these shows, as opposed to if that was in a movie, I'd be like, that was kind of cheap. But it's perfect because of this taking place in New Jersey, and obviously, Bon Jovi's the king of New Jersey, basically. It was awesome. It made it that much worth it, and I like that it wasn't overused for the whole battle, just for that little part, and then you get the more traditional cinematic score for the rest of the fight scene kind of thing. But I really liked that. I thought that was a fun little choice there. One of my other points that I have here is I really like, so obviously I love Kamala, I love Bruno, but I also love Nakia a lot. I love how fierce and strong she is. Running for the mosque board is really cool, especially where you see how not great the woman side of the mosque was treated, where I think it was hot. It like was uncomfortable. There's like mold and stuff like that. She's just cool, and she's like, yeah, I'm gonna run for this kind of thing after being pushed by Kamala, and like how awesome she is with Kamala's dad being like, well, like I know your friend is running for the board and you want to vote for him, but like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna take away everything women have fought for? Like, it really just guilts him into voting for her. But like, it was just great, and the fact that she won the election was awesome as well, because she's gonna make some awesome changes, and I believe part of that is taken from, I want to say, one of the first Miss Marvel runs. I haven't read the first Miss Marvel run in quite some time, but I believe she runs for the board in that as well. So that was cool that they brought that in, and shows like that nice woman power kind of thing, because that's important, and that representation and showing that positive change can happen in all sorts of communities is really, really great. So that was my other point that I have. So I have 2 left. So I think you have 2 left as well, Clifford.
I have 1 left. But Yusuf really is just.
Oh, you're right. I have 1 left as well.
This great character in
yeah.
in it. So that means I got to go with my number 1 already.
Yeah.
How exciting.
My last one is my actual number 1.
My number 1 is, yes, this is my number 1, and it is, I'm excited for her to finally get her real costume, but the powers, and her learning and growing with the powers, and it really, they did a good job with it. I'm shocked to be saying this, but like I love the like crystal punch. I love how she can like run. Like she can like summon like the pieces. I really found it funny when she was like, "It's Marvel time," which just happened to work well with the Morbin time joke, which I definitely will bet money, not actually, maybe a penny, that will be said in Deadpool 3. But it's a great coming of age story.
Yeah,
because she's dealing with friendship, with first love, with a best friend that's in love with her, the family issues, and now she has these powers. And she's being like hunted by now multiple people because of these powers.
Interdimensional beings, like just craziness.
Exactly. And so because of this, it's a very good, like in 2012, what Kamala was going through was really good for that. This is also for the scene of what the MCU is now. This works as a, not 1-to-1, but as a very good translation to the screen.
Yeah, I agree. I think everything about this show has been great. My number 1 is also the powers, but the slow build to it, like her learning about the hard light, but then also like the Raven, that's her Raven-esque vision she has when the bangle glows up a little bit, and she sees her great grandmother. Then she sees the train when one of the Jinn like grabs onto her wrist, and the fact that her grandmother saw the train too, and she's like, I know you saw this, like you saw it, like you need to come to India or Pakistan now, excuse me. Because I know you just saw that. Like, you and your mom also needs to come to. Very turning red in that aspect, like you said. Just really cool. It's a slow build. I'm excited because obviously I was very skeptical because it wasn't the Embiggen powers. They got rid of the whole Terrigen Mist thing. Like you said, Cliff, there is an easy way to still incorporate that. But if they don't, I'm okay with how they're doing this. And I didn't think I was going to be. I'm very cool with how they're doing this. I'm going to say it. I think I like this slightly better than Loki. And Loki's my favorite Disney Plus thing I've watched so far. Like, I'm really digging this.
I'm going to say nothing. Because the last time I said, I think this is going to be better than this, Kenobi didn't flop, but didn't live up to what I was like, ooh, it's going great. It kind of went up, down, okay, and strong. Like The Mandalorian. So I'm like, I'm going to hold off.
Fair.
I'm very much enjoying Miss Marvel, though. I think it's getting hard to compare the shows, if we're being 100%
well, there's like
honest.
20-something like between the movies and the shows, so it gets tough.
I think Marvel fans are never going to be happy. Marvel fans are going to end up worse than Star Wars fans, if we're going to be 100% honest. Like
one day,
I think we're closer than you think we are, honestly. And I'm going to go on my mini rant, not actually, but a little bit. Where Star Wars, people just hate. If you're not a true Star Wars fan unless you hate Star Wars, I'm kidding. But Star Wars is allowed to have a different art style for every episode because it's meant to be a space opera. It's literally supposed to be this extra, like, oh my god, like these gigantic events are happening, and because it's space, everyone kind of gets to put their own little spin on it. Like, yes, we know it's rooted in samurai and cowboy and westerns, but people can add different things, where the Mandalorian focuses primarily on the western part, where Kenobi was fully much based on more of the Force, and like they can change based director to director, writer to writer. Marvel fans don't like it. Marvel fans don't like the art adjustments of some of this stuff. And the best example, let's ignore Multiverse of Madness's story, but people were complaining about the like editing of it, and I'm like, people add in like their own little spin. Like Raimi adds in his own little form of like how he edits like the old Spider-Man movies, and people lose their minds. And it's just kind of sad to see, because it's like, do you really want the same cookie cutter every time? Because like Infinity War did a good job switching it up a little. It did a lot more. It leaned into the comic-y much more than others. And like Disney Plus is finally getting to the point where they have really let the leash go. Feige has really loosened the leash on how things look. Look at WandaVision. It was a satire on old TV while also making a very strong story. Loki was the most MCU-ish so far. So was Falcon and Winter Soldier. Falcon and Winter Soldier was just like a long Marvel movie. Loki was a little bit more weird with the cosmic side of it. But Miss Marvel is, I'm gonna say, it's even more out there than WandaVision was. In a good way, though. Like, it's like the art of it is so different from the MCU.
Yeah, I mean, we're not even done with Phase 4. I don't even think we're close to being done with Phase 4. No. And Phase 4 is my favorite phase of the MCU because that we're getting such different I mean, look at freaking Moon Knight, for example. Moon Knight,
exactly.
Miss Marvel, Multiverse of Madness, like those four right there.
Thor is about to freaking...
Same thing, because Taika, like, granted, that's similar to something we've had, but it's not similar enough to everything else, because I thought that was one of the most different Marvel movies because of how comedic it was. But those five, well, besides Guardians, but those four shows, movies, whatever, right there, are each so unique, but they're all equally intertwined to the same universe and storyline, where I don't feel like I'm watching multiple different storylines or movies or multiverses. It's all one thing for me, and I love that.
And that's my thing, where it's kind of like people saying like some of like the cuts in Doctor Strange were cheesy, and I'm like, you just don't.
These are comic book movies.
I'm like, you just don't appreciate it. I'm like,
it's fun,
and it's just annoying. That's the thing, where like people just hate Star Wars. People just want to hate. They want to hate, but Marvel fans pick the most outlandish things. Like Star Wars fans are just outwardly racist. Well, they're not even fans. If you're racist and you're saying that you're a Star Wars fan, you're not a Star Wars fan. But some of the things Marvel fans harp on, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like, where is this coming from?
Do you have any honorable mentions for Miss Marvel? Because I have one real quick I just want to get to.
You can go right ahead. I don't think I do.
I just like the connections. So you had Eric Selvig mention, obviously the professor from Thor and Avengers. We also get a Kingo reference, which I was wondering if we were going to get that at all, especially when they kept talking, like Cameron and Kamala kept talking about Bollywood stuff. I was like I mentioned Kingo, because obviously Kingo's a big Hollywood superstar kind of thing, which I just love that also, because like Kamala also has these powers, but she has no idea that Kingo is an eternal, and I like that whole aspect. And then the biggest one was episode 3, within the first 5 minutes, 10 Rings imagery. And that's interesting true. Because obviously you have the 10 Rings, which are bangle-like, and then you have Kamala's bangle, kind of the same kind of energy. Like, obviously we get the end credit scene of Shang-Chi, where Bruce Banner and, again, Captain Marvel are like, hey, this is like a big deal. Oh, and Wong, excuse me, too. This is a big deal. Like, this is some otherworldly power. Does the bracelets, or excuse me, the rings, the 10 rings, and Kamala's bangle, do they connect together? Is that how we bring in Miss Marvel and Captain America together? Potentially. Very strong potential. I think there's a strong potential we're going to see Brie Larson's Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel, in the show especially because of that. I also think we're going to see Shang-Chi because of that connection there too. And the other thing I was thinking about too is this takes place in New Jersey. Obviously, everything happened to Monica Rambeau in New Jersey too, in the Westview anomaly. It seems like this is going to be a very easy transition from Miss Marvel to the Marvels movie, where you have the Bangle's obviously important. Captain Marvel was investigating the Ten Rings with Wong and Bruce and Shang-Chi. And then you have the fact that they're in New Jersey, and you have that Westview anomaly with Monica getting her powers in Westview from Wanda. Lots of stuff. I'm excited. I'm so excited to see that. But the connections within this are great.
I think personally, Miss Marvel's gonna end, and the Marvels will go right into. Like, I think it's gonna be within a week. Like the end date of Miss Marvel and the start of the Marvels will be in MCU universe about a week, if not at most a month. I think it's gonna be very close to like boom boom.
And I'm excited because I love this Miss Marvel show. I didn't like the Captain Marvel movie as much, but I loved Captain America, like in Brie Larson's portrayal character.
Captain Marvel,
Danvers.
not Captain America.
Jeez Louise, all these.
You're having a day.
No, I loved Brie Larson's portrayal of Captain Marvel and Carol Danvers in that movie, even though I didn't love that movie as much. I still actually really enjoyed it. I know some people didn't, and that's absolutely fine. But I love this. I'm so excited to see Brie and Iman together. It's going to be fantastic.
I'm very excited. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this finishes, for sure.
So I really hope we get that
started strong,
connection.
it needs to finish strong. Then I can say it.
All right, Cliff. This has been a great discussion. Again, we are going to get back to more regular episodes. We'll have an episode a week, every week for here on out, knock on wood, hopefully, for Miss Marvel. Obviously, things do happen, and just bear with us. But, Cliff, where can people find you and the podcast on social media?
I got to do the podcast. So you can find me at CPRobinson81. You can find the podcast on Twitter, at Stream the Mouse, on Instagram, Streaming with the Mouse, Facebook, Streaming with the Mouse, and on any podcast host, or YouTube, if you want to see our faces when listening to this. Cam, where can they find you? You can find me on Twitter at CamRamos95. Let's talk Miss Marvel. Let's talk about Obi-Wan, all that good stuff. But thanks so much for listening, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you very soon. We'll talk about Episode 4 of Marvel Studios' Miss Marvel. It's Marvel in time. Bye, everyone.